Welcome to your next Python tutorial. In the previous one we covered variables. In this one we're going to be covering constants just quickly and then operators. After we're done all that, we're going to get into the really fun stuff like loops and other conditional statements. See you in the tutorial. Tutorial. In this one we're going to be covering how to use operators in Python. Now we're going to move on over to our PowerPoint presentation and just give a quick review and a couple practices. I've already set up the project in the file we're going to be typing in. So, an introduction to the Python language overview, constants, and operators. Whoops, that's not supposed to be in there. Let me delete. Oops. Actually, yes, that is. So, giving them a name. Constant, unlike a variable, cannot be changed. Examples would be pi or gravity. Use capital notation to differentiate between variables and constants. Okay, that's it. We'll go in more depth later on. I don't want to beat a dead horse. It's basically a variable, except it doesn't change. Cool, right? So operators. There's just different types of operators. The ones you should be familiar with already are operators like arithmetic, comparisons. New ones should be logical, bitwise, membership, and very new, identity. Correction, very new would be membership and identity. If I'm not loud enough, just say I'm not loud enough. I am monitoring the chat. Hopefully moving the microphone closer to me will help out a bit. So what is an arithmetic operator? It's addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, and exponents. Now, if you can remember BEDMAS, you basically can remember arithmetic operators. Or PEDMAS, I think is the other one. The new one should be modulus and floor division. Difference with being returns a remainder, and floor division, just a funkier version of division. We're going to move into our practice now. So I'm just going to type it up quickly, and then we'll move over to doing work and results. go to doing work just to give an example of code. So here we're gonna go Oh yeah, and for those of you who don't know, I do upload the PowerPoint to the Discord. So if you're looking for the PowerPoint just to keep reference material or an example, it's in there. I've been thinking about uploading the source code as well. Okay, now we're just going to run the file. Result being that I'll run it a couple more times. Now I'm actually going to change the X value to 15 and run it again. Now you can see the differences. Let's change X to 3.14159 and see how it changes the values here. Let's change X to a negative 3.14159. See the differences? Now you could try this, or we can move on. I think we're going to move on though. So that's the arithmetic operators. The next operators we're going to be moving to will actually be comparison. So we're going to actually compare two values and see what happens. Let's move to the presentation. Whoops. What is it? Getting a relationship between two values. So we have the equal to, the not equal to, the not equal to again. Difference being one has not equal to and the other one has greater than and less than. And then we have greater than, we have less than. We have greater than and equal to and less than or equal to. Now you're going to be using these in conditional statements, which is actually in the next lesson after this one. So hopefully I'll be uploading that tomorrow so we can get rid of some of the ambiguity. So we're going to move into the practice too. Practice here, and I'm just going to type that out quickly. Bear with me, I should have really typed this up earlier. If x is less than y, print if x is greater than y, print Okay, so here's the code. Quick introduction to conditionals. Don't worry about it. It's just to give the example. So basically, it's a giant amount of if statements, which you have not been introduced to yet, but it's the best way to explain it. So I'm going to run the code and give you the result. So right now, it's not equal to. Now, what happens if we make them equal to? Equal to. Now, what we can do is we can actually remove this part here and see what happens. Now let's make x equal to 25 and run it again. Let's make y equal to 35 and run it again. You see the change in the code there? Anyways, that's just a quick example. We're going to move on to the next lesson. Sorry this is taking so long. So now we've got our bitwise. They work as bits, so they do bit by bit comparisons of the values. I just gotta drink some of my tea. We got bitwise and bitwise or, bitwise exclusive, bitwise complement, bitwise shift, left and right. Now we'll just go over a quick example of this. And then we'll move on. I'm not going to beat this one like a dead horse because we've got more important stuff to go over. So I'm just going to give a quick example and we're going to move on. Okay, so here's a quick overview of the code. Sorry I didn't comment it. I literally just typed it up for you, like right now. So I'll show you the results, and then I'll show you the results with changed values. Here's the results. I'll run it again just to verify my results to you. There you go. Now we're going to change X to 96. Change the shifts to 2. Run it again and see the differences. Now you can mess around with this. In the upcoming tutorials, we're not going to really deal with it too much, which is why I don't really want to hammer on it. So we did our practices, now memberships. Memberships are just basically seeing, hey, does this belong to that list? So it could be a string that you're manipulating, an actual list, tuples, whatever it may be. It's just a way for you to compare. So an example would be a banned words list for a chat room. So you don't want people swearing in it, so you check against a list of swear words and synonyms, and you scrub out those words based off of that. I'm just going to type up a quick example for you, and then we'll move on to identities. And all an identity is you're just checking to see if they share the same memory pointers. Again, it's going to be the same thing, just a very, very quick example, because we're going to be using methods we don't normally use. Like stuff we haven't been taught yet. Okay, so here's the code. You can type it up yourself, and I'm just going to run it and show you the results. There's our result. Now, let's change it so that there isn't actually any overlap. Change it again so that there is overlap. And there you go. Now, like I was saying before, the next one we're going to be covering is going to be our identities. So let's go back to presentation. So we're comparing memory locations. I'm just going to type up a quick tutorial again for you. You can take a look at the code, and like I said, presentations are going to be uploaded. Just let me know if you really want to have us upload examples of the source code as well. I can get on that for you. But the examples are in the PowerPoint. I'm trying to limit the length of our actual presentations here so that we're not having, like, the videos are too long. That's all I'm saying. So we are at our practice now. So let's go to doing work. So under doing work, as you can see, we've got a couple conditionals here. And we're basically checking to see if x is an integer or not. Now I'll give you the results thus far. So right now, whenever we run main, gives you true because they are evaluating as true. Let's go back to doing work. Let's change this to 3.14159. Change that one to 3. Run it quickly. See, our result is false. So basically what we've covered is different types of operators and briefly touched on constants. Now I know that I didn't really hammer on a couple of the things here. It's because we're going to get lots of practice in the future. And that being said, the practice will be more around like applications. Useful applications. So again, we cover constants and operators. And that's this video. The next one will be conditional statements. So we're going to hammer on if, else, and else if statements, as well as switches. And then the one following that tutorial will then be different types of loops. Once we got those down pat, we're going to hit on classes.